Going on to number 3, we have a presentation by the Yuba City Economic Development Corporation. Welcome, Brenda Stranix.
Thank you, Mayor Harris.
You're welcome.
Brenda Stranix, Yuba City Economic Development Corporation. I want to thank you, Mayor, as well as the council for allowing me to present tonight. It was a nice invitation, and I certainly appreciate the ability to be here this evening. Is there a... Perfect. Thank you. So, who we are? We're a private nonprofit established in 1994 by jurisdictional support from all of the local jurisdictions, meaning both the county of Yuba and Sutter and the 4 cities, Wheatland, Live Oak, Marysville, and the city of Yuba City. Our forefathers, I was not with the organization at the time, but in 1996 had the foresight to apply for and receive designation as an economic development district through the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration. You'll hear more about why that's important in a minute. We're governed by a board of directors consisting of both private and public sector folks, a mighty staff of 4, and we provide regional economic development services to the region. So what do we really do? We kind of have 4 pillars of business, as we like to call it: business creation and attraction, business expansion and retention. We have a business lending program, and we do infrastructure enhancement. So I'm going to take a minute to brag on us a little bit, especially when it comes to the business creation and attraction. We've been told by Greater Sacramento Economic Development Council that we are the only organization within their service region that submits complete responses to RFP packages. That's really something to hear when we're working against much larger organizations with many more resources than we have. That is something that is really something that we're pretty proud of. In addition to that, we have provided data that has moved projects ahead by years. For example, the Buffalo Wild Wings that was placed in the shopping center over here by Walmart. The developer came to us and said, "Hey, do you have some data that I can put in this package? I'm trying to get these people to move forward." So we provided the retail leakage that we have available to us, and I'm told, it actually moved that single project, ahead by 6 years. So there's some of the things that we like to brag about. So who we serve the counties of Sutter and Yuba, and then the cities of Live Oak, Marysville, and Wheatland, and we serve all the regional businesses without regard to jurisdictional support. I'm going to brag a little more. We have a loan program, and regionally, meaning within the 2 counties and the 4 cities, we have made 178 loans totaling nearly $14 million, and that's leveraged another about $104 million in investment, created 709 jobs, retained 600 others, and that was assisting 79 startups. We stop tracking the job creation once they have fulfilled their obligation to the loan. That being said, in the city of Yuba City alone, we have created or made 66 loans totaling about $7 million, leveraging about $26 million investments. Yuba City businesses constitute about 50% of all of our lending activity over the program life from a financial perspective. Average loans are about $105,000. Some are much higher, some are lower. So you might recognize some of these folks. These are folks in your city that the city of Yuba City has, that have been provided loans through the Yuba City Economic Development Corporation. This is just a few out of 66. So I talked a little bit about the importance of the Economic Development District. In that comes a responsibility for us to provide a comprehensive economic development strategy. And that strategy prioritizes public works projects and as well as the business's interest in economic development goals. The committee consists of public sector as well as representatives from the region's industries. It's updated annually and complete rewrite every 5 years. So we'll be doing that again in 2020. Makes it an opportune time if the city of Yuba City has an interest in being included in that document. With inclusion in that document, once approved by the jurisdictions participating, as well as the EDA's final approval on an annual basis, the projects that are listed in the document are given priority funding by EDA, specifically public works projects. So roads, water, sewer, wastewater, those kinds of things. Business retention and expansion. That's a big part of what we do. You all know that about 80% of all job growth actually comes from our existing businesses. We always get a big front page splash when In-N-Out Burger is opened, but really this is the core of where our jobs come from. So in order to touch base and stay connected to our business community, we perform business walks on an annual basis. We host business resource seminars. We manage the Yuba City Business Consortium. We assemble as needed industry-specific industries, for example, a manufacturers association or a healthcare council, those kinds of things, and have participated on those for decades. And then, of course, we work one-on-one with businesses based on their need. So providing financial support to the local jurisdictions. We do grant writing, research, and management. Couple of examples I want to talk about. The taxiway project at the Yuba County Airport is a $1.2 million project. We were able to secure a grant for about $927,000 of that 1.2. It's going to create about 150 jobs, that one project. Another example of that is a manufacturer needed a upgrade in their wastewater treatment line, or their waste line, conveyance line. $2.2 million project. We were actually able to secure $1.8 million in federal dollars to support that, and that was 400 jobs. Unfortunately, the project went sideways, but nonetheless, we were successful in securing the funds. Yuba County Administrator Robert Bendorf and the County Board of Soup said that one grant actually provides enough offset funding for them to support us for 34 years, to give you some perspective. So we're very proud of the work that we do there. So some program income waiver projects. Through the years, we administered on behalf of the local jurisdictions their CDBG program specific to business lending. The city of Yuba City was a part of that. We were able to build large pots of program income when those loans revolved. And then that money could be used through a waiver process at the state for infrastructure. So Live Oak Police and Fire Station was remodeled using that funding, about $650,000. There's a water line in Live Oak that's crossing Pennington Road that will be used, about another $100,000 or $500,000. And then we were able to fund some projects around the wastewater and water project in Robbins, the community of Robbins. And then special projects. We do a lot of things. We wear a lot of hats. One example that I wanted to present was the 14 Forward project for homeless over in Yuba County. So as you all are aware, and we'll learn more about here before too long, Yuba County took a leap, right? And they just built a project. And Robert Bendorf again called me and said, hey, I need some help. We were able to secure private sector funding to pay for 100% of that original construction. The Yuba City Economic Development Corporation did. So we're good partners. We want to make sure that our communities are fiscally sound and finding other ways to fund projects. And then other stuff we do. I happen to be the executive director for the Sutter County Community Action Agency, as well as the Yuba County Community Services Commission. Both of those entities are state-funded community service block grant funds that end poverty or designed to end poverty. We're also taking the lead for both counties on the California Compete Census campaign. So we'll be out and back to you all with information about that as well. And then I participate on the Lodging Association, Homeless Consortium, Homeless Committee, California Finance Corporation, and a few others that you can see there. There's an additional list. It just wouldn't fit on the slide. So, a partnership with the EDC. I have given some serious consideration to what that might look like for the city of Yuba City. If the city is interested in only participating and becoming a member or a partner for inclusion in the CEDS document, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, it's about $25,000 annual commitment from the city. We also can provide fee-for-service work. We can contract that on a case-by-case basis with you if that's something that you're interested in. I know your city manager called the other day and needed some information for one of you council members, and we were happy to pull that up. But without some financial support, we can't always do that at no cost. But we're absolutely happy to do it. And then for $52,000 annually, we would you'd be reinstated to the district and receive additional benefits. Some of them are included here, but of course it would be negotiable on what focuses you'd like us to perform for you. So we have an available list of services. We're happy to partner in any way that you see is right for the city, or perhaps no way at all. But I appreciate your time tonight, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Brenda. Questions?
Through the mayor. Thank you for your presentation. I have a couple quick questions.
You got it.
Appreciate you outlining the fees that it would take for us to be reinstated. I guess, how long have we not been a member? Because I do recall that we used to be.
About 2008.
Okay.
There was a change from a regional perspective and a more city-centric goal by the city manager. And so there was a separation. In that time, that's when you fell out of the district.
Okay. Second question is sort of a two-part question. Is you've proposed a $25,000 and a $52,000. How is that fee determined? Is it based upon population?
No, it's interesting. When the organization was first formed, all of the jurisdictions provided, I think, $68,000 in support. The four bigger ones, so City of Yuba City, both counties, and the City of Marysville. Over the years, that has come down, understanding that you all have had some budgetary concerns and problems, especially during the late 2008, 9, 10. Sutter County pays $52,000. That's their annual membership. Yuba County actually contracts with us for additional services, and our contract with them is for $88,000 and some change. We receive funding. So I guess I could explain where some of our funding comes from. 22% of our total budget comes from the local jurisdictions. The city of Live Oak, Wheatland, and Marysville pay very small amounts. They want to continue to remain committed to the CEDS project. 40% is generated through our loan program. It's a profit center for us. 15% is private sector support, so support from local businesses, national companies, etc. 10% comes from our EDA. We get a planning grant each year that allows us to do the CEDS work. And then 13% is special projects that are fee for services.
And I assume that if we decided to re-engage with your organization, then we would likely have a spot on the board for decision making?
You would. Our bylaws are written. They were recently amended to up to 2 board members from each jurisdiction. So in the past, there had to be 2. That was a strain on some of the jurisdictions to have 2 board members at every board meeting. We only meet quarterly, so there's not a lot. But yes, you absolutely would have up to 2 seats on the board of directors.
You answered all my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good questions.
Through the mayor. Thank you for being here tonight. My understanding from what you told us and my understanding of your organization is we're not a part of it, but yet you take care of our businesses here in our city.
I do.
I know many of the businesses that was on that screen, and I know they've had success with your partnership. With the grant writing and the prioritization being part of the district, how much of a advantage will that help us? Because you talk about the grants.
Mhm.
We need $7 million to fix our roadways here in Yuba City. Um, Outside of what we're currently doing, if we were to invest the full 52,000 annually to become part of the board and a member, what kind of advantage is that going to give us in seeking additional grants to take care of our city?
So I'm going to kind of back into this with some further explanation, I guess. Um, when the EDA formed, the Economic Development Administration formed these districts, it was to help Appalachia. So, and I believe it was in the 30s or 40s. As the districts moved west of that central point, for whatever reason, they fell out of favor. Or people were not aware, or they didn't find a need or see a need, or I'm not sure what the problem was. And when I said that somebody was very insightful from our organization in the early beginning when they applied for designation, there's only 5 in the state of California, and they're all up in this North Valley area. So what that gives us is an opportunity, and I can't give you a percentage of how we're going to score higher, but because our projects are listed in an approved CEDS, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy document, they are given priority when it comes to funding. You all could write your own CEDS, and it would be just as eligible. So that is an option for you as well. I think at one time there was some discussion that you were going to do that, but I don't think it's been done.
Could our city manager address that, or Mr. Gale? Have we done that?
Yeah, I'm going to have to defer to Mr. Gale.
Okay.
So currently, we do not. Our economic development strategy would qualify for a STEDS based upon our conversations with EDA if we were applying for a grant. Since we have not yet found a grant that we need to apply for that requires a SEDS, we've not gone through the process, but we've talked with them multiple times, and they said as long as the council has adopted your economic development strategies, it's not a true comprehensive economic development strategies like the Economic Development Corporation and Brenda puts together, but they have told us, at least verbally and through emails, that our economic development strategy would qualify us for a grant. But we've since I've been at the city, I don't think we've ever applied for a grant that required an EDA grant, which requires a comprehensive economic development strategy.
Okay, follow-up question for you, Mr. Gale, is if we were to go forward with our own SEDS, what would approximately the cost be for us to actually put that formal report together that the Economic Committee already has?
That'd be a question for Brenda to tell you how much it costs
Okay.
for their SEDS. However, they have told us that our economic development strategy that we do have would qualify. My assumption is they haven't read it,
Right.
and that there might be additional information that we would need to include. We could come back to council with that information if you'd like, but I know Brenda could tell you exactly how much it cost her.
All right, thank you. Brenda.
So the EDA provides us $80,000 a year to manage the SEDS document.
Okay.
The SEDS process.
Okay. Last question I have for you is it just seems very strange that we're in, when I first was introduced to this area, it was called the hub area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very strange that something happened around 2008 that we seem to not want to be a part of the hub area anymore. With that, you're helping the businesses. What advantage will we have as a city when our businesses are here, referring them over to you to get further assistance? Does it give them an advantage if we are a full-fledged member? Does it give us additional resources to give them versus them trying to find it on their own? I'm looking for what is the advantage for our businesses in our community.
Sure. So some experience that I've had, and I'm not to mean that every business is skeptical of government, but there is a fair number of government. We provide a liaison between your businesses and your city staff, so that if there's a complaint by a business, first of all, we vet that complaint. We just had a discussion about this not long ago in our consortium meeting. There was a complaint that it was either the city or the county, and I believe it was actually on the other side of the river, but as an example, the business was complaining about the city. The city did this, the city won't let me do that, the city, when in fact it wasn't the city at all. It was the county, or vice versa. I don't recall exactly which it was. So my message was, have them call me. I want to really understand where their issues are. Let's see if we can vet through them. Let's see if we can get them solved. Let's see if we can keep you all, staff as well as council, at arm's length from something that's negative or perceived to be negative, when in fact that wasn't the case at all. So there's an example of how we can be effective. There's a lot of trust. I've been in this community my entire life, which is, like 29 now. So I have a great network of partners and know just about everybody here.
Thank you.
Through the mayor.
Yep.
Brenda, excellent presentation. I really, I learn more and more from you all every time we have an opportunity to see what you do. My question is in the loans that, just in the slide where you were talking about for the city, almost $7 million worth of loans. Now, when you're assisting some of these local businesses, as I see on Bridge Coffee, I'll just point them out because I love their coffee. So do you connect them to the right financial institute, or how's that money coming? How do you do that?
That's a perfect example. So in that particular instance, the owner needed to buy equipment, and have some marketing, working capital, that kind of thing. They came to us because they were turned down by a financial institution.
Okay.
Oftentimes when a business is a startup, brand new business, less than 3 years old, the local financial institutions are not going to want to participate. In the example of Carl's Jr., this in particular project was their new location, or newest location, the one right here on Harder, or Tharp and Highway 20. They came in with funding, but they had a gap. Oftentimes banks don't want to be the only skin in the game. So they have a need to have some owner injection and or partners. So we came in on that one with a $300,000 loan and filled the gap, and it allowed their project to go forward. So they're structured in a lot of different ways. The goal is to make sure that there's adequate financing and adequate understanding by the business owner of what they're doing, how they're going to do it. We look at projections. We want all of that. And in the end, our real objective is job creation. So if there's no job created, we're not going to lend to a business.
Right. And then you also at the same time focus on the retention, right? So
Right.
that particular Bridge Coffee trying to expand, but not able to, but still retaining their existing site. So I can see all the benefits of what it's quite complex, but you make it seem so easy to what you've been doing. And so I really appreciate what you've done for our community and appreciate the presentation.
So Bridge is in an expansion mode now. And we're underwriting another loan for them currently. More than just the lending.
Yeah.
For the entire time that they have a loan with us until that loan pays off, we are mentoring. We are in their business in a good way.
Yeah.
We're watching their financials. We're guiding them. We're mentoring them. We want to make sure, number one, our loan is repaid.
Right.
Because it's our money. We borrow it and have to pay for it. But second to that, we want those businesses to succeed. So we're really in it as a partner. And many times after the loan has repaid, they count on us for that support as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yep, to the mayor. Thank you, Brenda, for the presentation. Wonderful, as always. The quick question I have for you is you commented you brought 705 jobs to the community. And is that in your 24-year history or within the last 5 years?
That was just with the loan program.
with the loan program.
That was just through the loan program. And we only track those jobs for as long as they're in the loan,
Okay.
as long as the loan is active.
Okay.
So if, for example, Northside Fitness is probably a good example. They came in early in their stages. I think there were 2 employees. They built up to 17, 18, 19 employees and then paid off the loan with us. And at some point, they've created probably 200 jobs in the community. So we stopped tracking once because we don't want to be a pest to them.
Right.
But they are obligated until their loan is paid in full to track employment with us. So it's a number. It's not the only number.
So it's so it'd be individual. It's not.
I'm sorry,
So-
Manny.
So I get it right. So it's 709 new jobs for individuals, not 709 businesses in the last 25
That's
years.
correct. No,
Okay,
it was
that's- okay.
66 businesses in the city of Yuba City have had loans with Yuba Center Economic Development.
Okay. All right.
178 loans.
I was going to say 709 new jobs because that's a lot of stuff in the community. That's great. That's what I'm thinking. That'd be great. So okay. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
And like our support for Buffalo Wild Wings, those numbers are not tracked. But I believe we were a huge piece of getting that that in particular business here.
Okay.
Even though we funded their competitor.
You have more, Dave?
Yes, sir, through
Go
the
for it.
mayor. Just one quick question. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to misspeak. The average term of the loans that you give, how many years is those?
It varies depending on our funding sources. Like I said, we borrow money, so we have payback requirements to our lenders. What we look for when we make a determination on term is debt service, right? So it's important for us to not make their loan payments so high that they're not going to succeed, but we also have to be cognizant of what's realistic. Sometimes it's a year, short term, quick. Create a couple jobs, needs $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to buy a piece of equipment. Other times it's a much bigger project. At one point we funded, we actually had an $800,000 loan for a medical facility that I believe that one was a 20-year AM, and we always have a 5-year call. So we always will encourage them. Our hope is that they'll be bankable at the time of that call. If they're not, we continue working with them, and we'll refinance. But then we'll have another call before the term.
Okay, my experience has been between 5 and 12 years
Yeah.
is typically the length of time. So when we're looking at the jobs created and tracking those, you're typically looking at 709 jobs over probably 5 to 9 years.
So I guess maybe I wasn't very clear. There's an expectation for every $35,000 they borrow from us, they have to create 1 job.
Okay.
We track until they have created their prescribed number of jobs, unless they continue wanting to track with us.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Brenda, if you could back up to the services provided on the $52,000 plan, if you will. And then we have the bottom one, economic development lead. Can you describe what that would entail?
So if you have a need to have the EDC be your economic developer, the point of contact, we're happy to do that for you. I don't know where your intention is with your own economic development program, and I didn't want to make a presumption that was your intent or interest. But if that is, we could be more than happy to do that for you.
All right, just curious. I saw it on there and thought I'd ask and see. So can you provide, have you done it for any other agencies?
We do it for all the others.
All of them.
We are their point of economic development.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Brenda.
You're
Appreciate
very
it.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Brenda.